Now, if you've watched a disturbing or creepy Easter eggs video on YouTube before, then you'll have probably seen the ghost in the mirror from Hitman Contracts or the creepy jump scare girl in Please Don't Touch Anything 3D. That's why in today's video, I wanted to share disturbing video game Easter eggs that you might have never seen before. Now, I know that's a bold claim to make, but if you see at least 2 Easter eggs in this video that you didn't know about before watching, then I'll consider this video a success. As always, leaving a like is really appreciated, and make sure you subscribe for more Easter egg videos. And without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with Miside. Now, in Miside, you find yourself trapped in a mobile game starring a cute anime girl.
Anyway, I'm just happy to see you.
Now, whilst to some of you that may sound like your idea of heaven, the cute anime girl in this mobile game isn't as friendly as she first seems. You see, there are several different versions of Mita. That's the cute anime girl, by the way. And some of them are friendly, and some of them, well, some of them aren't. When you meet your first version of Mita, she seems nice enough, and even invites you to have dinner with her. After finishing the food, which was made with Mita's love sauce...
What kind of sauce is this?
It's a love sauce, chock full of love.
Your character starts to feel faint, and Mita says that she knows how to help. She then takes you by the hand and starts leading you to the bathroom. Now, so far, so nice. She obviously cares about you. Well, if we access the developer menu, we can see that her intentions might not be entirely innocent. So as Mita leads you away, her face changes from the cute anime girl we've gotten to know to a much more sinister looking face complete with sharp fangs. Again, to some of you this still might sound like your idea of heaven, and I'm not one to judge, but the fact that without the use of the developer mode we would have assumed that she was just trying to help makes this pretty disturbing. Now, when you think of Goat Simulator, you probably don't think of disturbing. I mean, sure, there are moments in the series where it can get pretty creepy, but for the most part, Goat Simulator is a light-hearted affair. In Goat Simulator 3, the same applies. For the most part. You see, one of the hats that you can equip in Goat Simulator 3 is the Private Brian hat, which is probably a nod to shaving Ryan's privates. This hat lets you control human NPCs and force them to do your bidding, which can lead to some pretty funny moments.
I think I broke something.
Now, like I said, this hat can only be used to control humans, which means things like these mannequins are safe from its mind-bending powers. Here's the thing, there is a certain mannequin found at the farm that is a little different to the others.
Ready. Move out. Answer. Cha-ching.
Go it slow.
Reporting.
Be
At
mine.
once.
So this mannequin is the only mannequin in the game that can be mind controlled. Now, taking a look at this particular mannequin, it's easy to see that it's just a human NPC with a mannequin style skin, but you wouldn't know that until you interacted with them. The reason I personally find this so disturbing is that you could finish the whole game without knowing that this mannequin is actually a person pretending to be a mannequin. If that doesn't put you on edge, I don't know what will. Now, if I told you that Death Stranding 2 had some weird moments, you would probably reply with something like, okay, well, the grass is green. And your cynicism would be well placed. Death Stranding 2 is a Hideo Kojima game, so it's full of the weird and wonderful. Well, this next Easter egg is weird even by Kojima standards. One of the gadgets that you can use in the game is a coffin board, which you can ride like a skateboard. Because of course you can. Of course, all of that skating is tiring, and if you need to take a break, you can just pop a squat and take a nap. The thing is, if you take a nap at West Fort Knot whilst attached to the coffin board, this will happen. Okay, now to be clear, I don't think this is disturbing because of the very obvious gay implications. I mean, what people get up to in their private lives is entirely their business. What I do find disturbing is the fact that Higgs first of all shushes the player, which means he knows that we're watching, before using his tentacle tongue to make out with Sam. Honestly, it's really unsettling to watch. Of course, the whole thing was just a dream, but that doesn't make it any less disturbing. Now, one of the best ways to creep me out is to not be so obvious about it. What I mean is, I prefer the show but don't tell kind of storytelling. The kind of storytelling that lets you piece together what happened and then lets your imagination fill in the blanks, which is usually much scarier anyway. A perfect example of this can be found in Cyberpunk 2077, which is the master of the whole show and don't tell thing. At this location on the map, you can find an abandoned shack surrounded by tweakers and homeless people. Now, there is seemingly no way into the shack, but looking in the window and it definitely looks like someone lives there. Well, if you go around the side, you can find a way in. So inside the shack you can find human organs, surgical tools, bags of meat, and multiple dead bodies. Okay, so that's a lot of strange things to find in one place, but it doesn't really tell us what went down here. Well, if you check the body of the lady in the chair, we can find an archived conversation between her and what we're led to believe is a little boy. The little boy messaged the woman in the chair looking for his sister, who had gone missing after speaking to the woman. The woman then tries to lure the boy to her cabin, but it turns out that little Johnny isn't so little, and was actually intent on tracking the woman down and stopping her once and for all. And judging by the body on the chair, I'd say he did his job. So this room was the place that a woman killed multiple children, and did who knows what to them after. I mean, in-game, the bodies in the shack are adults, because even Cyberpunk wouldn't go as far to show actual children. Still, knowing what happened in this shack at the hands of this woman is enough to send shivers down your spine. Oh, and the username of the killer, 8 Yaga, is a nod to the Slavic folktale of the Baba Yaga, a woman who used to fry and eat children. So that makes the bags of meat found in the shack even worse. Sticking with the whole show and don't tell theme, up next is Fallen Aces. Now, Fallen Aces is a crime noir FPS that sees you taking on the role of a private investigator, so solving crimes is sort of your job. Well, during Chapter 5 you can stumble across a very strange crime scene. Now, I don't know about you, but personally I find this really, really creepy. The fact that the room is so full of things, but so empty at the same time, puts me on edge. I mean, we have the obvious things like the body on the bed and the eyes drawn on the wall, but other than that, there is nothing else to go off in this room. When I first found this room, I immediately thought of the movie Seven and its various crime scenes, but that's all I have. It's just a random murder in a game full of violence. But for some reason, this one just makes me feel weird. Now, in the early 2000s, licensed kids games were a dime a dozen, but for the most part, they weren't very good. I wish I could say that 2007's Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots bucked that trend, and to be honest, it kind of does. I mean, it's not Red Dead Redemption 2, but you could do a lot worse at the time. Anyway, one of the toys that you have to do battle with is Mr. Huggles, a fluffy pink teddy bear that seems to be harmless. Well, you know, in usual circumstances. Well, unlike most of the other toys in the game, there is a hint of Mr. Huggles' bad side that you usually wouldn't be able to see. Thanks to the power of emulation, you can play Attack of the Toybots on the Dolphin emulator, where you can enable a free cam mode, meaning you can now look where you usually couldn't. Well, if we take a closer look at Mr. Huggles' box, we can see that it says, "I'll hug and kill you, you'll never sleep again, I'll kill your parents." Now, of course, whoever added this text never expected the game to be playable in a higher definition, whilst also being able to manipulate the camera. So they probably thought that this super creepy text would never be found. But of course they were wrong. I mean, it's probably for the best that emulation wasn't a thing back then, because this would have definitely given me nightmares. So Night of the Consumers may sound like your typical run-of-the-mill supermarket simulator game, but it's anything but. I mean, sure, it starts that way, having to deal with demanding customers who just won't leave you alone. But it soon becomes apparent that there is much more going on here than meets the eye. The first red flag comes in the form of the manager, who right off the bat gives serious creepy vibes. Of course, you have no proof that the manager is up to no good. Well, that is until you find this in the staff room. So hidden behind a crack in the wall are human remains, but that doesn't mean that the manager was responsible. Well, written on the wall is a warning to not trust the manager. Given that the person in here had the time to write these messages, I would guess the manager trapped the person here and left them to rot, which has to be one of the worst ways you can die. Right, let's end today's video with Phasmophobia. Now, psychiatric hospitals have always creeped me out. I don't know if it's because if you looked at someone the wrong way a few decades back you could be locked up for being insane, or because the thought of a padded cell just terrifies me. But yeah, psychiatric hospitals are not fun. That's why the story of Lisa from Phasmophobia affects me so much. Back when the game first released, you could find Lisa in the game's lobby. Well, it turns out that there is more to this friendly ghost than meets the eye. If you head to the Sunny Meadows map, you can find Lisa's final resting place. So in the morgue, you can find the body of Lisa. Lisa is the only person left inside of the now abandoned hospital, which is pretty strange and, if I'm honest, kind of sad. Well, just down the hall you can find padded cells, and using a blacklight we can see that Lisa was seemingly trapped in one of these cells, and was keeping a tally of the days that she was locked up. And judging by the marks on the wall, she was locked up for a long time. Also on the door you can find the bloody handprints of Lisa, who was desperate to escape. To know the type of suffering that Lisa survived here, only for her body to be left to rot all alone, is really, really sad. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. YouTube seemed to think that you'll like the video on screen, so give that a watch. And as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.